Three Little Goldfish by Jessica Romanowski. Once upon a time there were three little goldfish that lived at the bottom of the sea. One day their mother told them that it was time for them to move out and live on their own. Before she said goodbye, she warned the goldfish to think wisely about how they build their houses because the big bad shark will hit them with his tail and will knock them down if they are not strong enough. The goldfish told their mother not to worry and swam away. As the goldfish were swimming, they saw some seaweed. One of the goldfish said, "I think I will use this seaweed to build my house." So the goldfish collected some seaweed and started building his house. When it was all done, the goldfish was very satisfied and began to rest. The other two goldfish continued to swim along. As they were swimming, they came across some seashells, and the second goldfish said, "I think I'm going to use those seashells to build my house." Then he began to collect some of the shells and started to build his house. When it was all finished, he too was very proud of his house and started to rest. The third goldfish continued to swim along by himself. Then, at last, he saw some coral. He then thought to himself, "I'm going to use that coral to build my house." So he gathered some of the coral and began building his house. When he was all finished, he was very pleased with his work and also began to rest. The next day the goldfish stood outside and admired their houses. Then all of a sudden the first goldfish saw the big bad shark coming towards his house. He then immediately ran into his house made out of seaweed and shut the door. The shark then went up to the door and said, little goldfish, let me in." And the goldfish responded, "No way, not by the scales of my finny fin." So then the big bad shark said, "Fine, then I'll whack and I'll whack and I'll knock your house down." The shark backed up, turned around, and whacked the first goldfish's house down with his tail and ate the first little goldfish. The next day the shark began to swim by the second goldfish's house made out of seashells. The second goldfish immediately ran inside just like the first goldfish and closed the door. The shark said, little goldfish, let me in." The goldfish said, "No way, not by the scales of my finny fin." "Then I'll whack and I'll whack and I'll knock your house down," said the shark. He backed up, turned around, and whacked the second goldfish's house down and ate the second goldfish. Next day, the shark began to swim by the third goldfish's house made out of coral. Like the other two goldfish, the third goldfish ran inside his house and locked the door. The big bad shark said, little goldfish, let me in." "No way, not by the scales of my finny fin," said the goldfish. The shark said, "Fine, then I'll whack and I'll knock your house down." So the shark backed up, turned around, and whacked the third goldfish's house. Only this time, he was not able to knock it down. This made the big bad shark extremely angry, and he continued to whack the house with his tail. The shark whacked the house so many times that he broke his tail and swam away. All of the other goldfish came out of their houses cheering and began to build their houses out of coral. From that day on, every goldfish built their house out of coral, and the big bad shark never bothered them again.